Hello, possums. Dr. Lena coming to you from the frozen south. Now, in many ways, this week's been tough, tougher than we've had in a while, and we've had a lot of horror and a lot of pressure and a lot of stress and distress. What I'd just like to say at the outset here is I personally really hope, and I hope you join me in this, to really pray that for the lives that have been lost in Texas, and we know the numbers are only going to go up, have not been in vain. I really hope the trauma and the outrage leads to some sort of proper, real change, and that other states, particularly the most vulnerable, heading into a hot summer, are waking up to what they need to have in place. And I hope they are treading a path to the Yeti's cage. Red governors and so forth, it just can't, we can't see this roll out over and over. You'd have to think it's self-destructive for the Yeti, but he doesn't have the consequence gene. He can't make that connection. So you have Christy Noem, apart from her cosplay in the worst possible way, apart from her spectacular lack of humanity, which is on display on an hourly basis, despite the fact she's banned from every reservation in South Dakota because she's been so appalling to Native American people in the area, despite that, the new rule for what little federal funding is available, they haven't quite killed FEMA yet, you know. So there's little pockets of money you can apply for as a state in a disaster. New rule, if it's more than $100,000, it has to go through the puppy killer. It has to go to her desk. And that's why there was a 3-day delay for the Texas response. And that was her first big test. Mm. And this is what happens when you insist incompetent people lead big departments. Yeah. It's just horrendous. Okay, so we are going to talk about a few things, obviously, but I hope you're in the mood for talking about tariffs. Because here's the thing with the tariffs. Now, 100 letters were sent out. We got ours yesterday in Australia. Letters, little Romeo, we used to call them, form letters. Someone's just written in the name of the Prime Minister. Mm. Except for the BRICS, they get different letters, but I'll come to that. So Australia and 90 odd other countries got the letter. And the letter's saying basically, you've been really bad. You've been really, really bad. And if you don't get in touch and agree to everything we say, you will be punished on August 2nd. Hmm. Well, the world, we all knew the letter was coming, you know? But people are so over this man and are so outraged at his attack on every other country in the world. I don't know if Kim Jong-un got a letter. He might have been an exception. And if you want to actually get a different angle on the news from all American consumption, read some international news in the next few days. You'd be amazed. I mean, countries are just saying, no, this is not negotiation. This is extortion. This is a mafia move. And no, we're not buying into the protection racket. Others are saying, no, we're not mere vassals of a feudal state. We know it looks like Game of Thrones, but we're not going there. Just no. Right? And people are really furious, really angry. Mm. Now, it's hard to keep track of what tariffs are what, and apparently it's the April 2nd tariffs, but then that's superseded 5 minutes later by another threat, and we're looking at 25% or maybe 50% on copper, aluminum, and pharmaceuticals. Now let's look at the pharmaceuticals for a nanosecond. They're the pharmaceuticals that we make and export to you, where their price then gets put up 300%, 500%, 600% for you. Our companies, I'm sure they put it up 100% from making it, but that's what we pay. And then for the same product, Americans pay this. Yeah. This is all exposing so many things that are already wrong, you know. Now, the BRICS got a different letter. They got their very own bricky letter. You are doubly wicked, so you will not trade in your own currency. You will trade in US dollars. Well, I don't think so. You will be given 50% extra tariffs for not manufacturing your things in the US. Well, how can Brazil suddenly manufacture things in the US? I would defy anyone. I think someone should do this as a costing exercise, to just build a factory in the US now with the tariffs on every bit of steel, every nail, every screw, every, aluminium siding, everything. It would cost as much as the space program to build a factory for anything. Not going to happen. And the problem is the Yeti is now at war with the entire world. And the world is not playing. No, over it. Over it. Japan is really filthy on this because they've been hugely impacted doubly. They're an automotive export country, and also they hold a shit ton of US bonds. And if they choose to dump those, that was the time that the stock market really fell through the floor, selling bonds. So if he pushes people much further, they're going to start selling the bonds. Okay, so let's look at how the rest of the world is feeling, not just me doing an individual rant. How is the rest of the world feeling about this latest round of it's just threats of extortion? And even if he tacos out, it's still destabilizing. Absolute. Oh, ha, what for that? Let's take those and we'll move on because we are talking about the world here. So I'll do one more. Yes, so the Wheel of Fortune, just similar to the world in many ways. Okay, it's like this had to happen. It's like it had to happen. This is our collective karma in this time. The US had to go through this, and we will talk infinitely more into the future. Where does the pendulum come back to? And let's hope it's a big pendulum swing after this. But as far as the rest of the world's concerned, no, not playing anymore. The complete dominance is over. It's like dealing with children, is what people are thinking. There's a naivety to his lack of negotiation. Or, as another Australian reader, Judy says, the fart of the deal. I love that. I'll talk more about Judy and her twin later. So, you can't do proper deals. The real agendas are hidden and they will remain hidden. And I think that's America's secret agendas, but it's also the rest of the world. People will still take his phone calls and go through the motions, but they'll really be playing poker on another channel while the Yeti's raving on speakerphone, like. So secret agendas, I think, also indicates things that are going on, big devilish things that are going on that are not above ground. I think that would include Israel and Iran. Could also be Ukraine. Now, what does the rest of the world think? King of Wands and his big stick, they're just saying, this is usually a very positive card, but not in this case. Take your big stick and go home. We're not impressed. Your little stubby fingers give it away. You can't bully people past a certain point. You bully people and they get scared, they comply, they try and, go under the radar, all these strategies when you're being bullied of trying to cope. And then you get to a point where you just go, fuck it, Jan. Now, everyone's going to lose money over this, but there'll be some gains as well. I think this is talking mainly about soft power and not so much soft power. This bulldozing the bricks was a big mistake, right? Because many of them traded in their own currencies and the US dollar and in yen. So what are they going to do now? They're going to eliminate one of those. Okay, so we're going to see them trading, I predict, in their own currencies and the yen. Okay. All right. Now, before we leave tariffs, Lindsey Graham. Lindsay, Queen of Swords, Graham. Well, we know how he sleeps at night and drinks himself into oblivion, entertainment only, YouTube. But you'd have to with his conscience, right? You would really have to. Now, he's introducing this new strong arm bill that's been called Russian sanctions, sanctions on Russia. But when you look at the bill, what it is a 500, yes, you heard that right, 500% levy on anyone who buys Russian oil or gas. Now, that's most of Europe, a lot of China, and I suspect India. Any Indian viewers, please let me know. I suspect India imports quite a bit as well. 500% on the people who buy it. Fascinating in itself. So, obviously, Russia won't be happy, but because of the Iran embargo for the last 30 years, they've already got around that. And that's what I mean. All of this is ultimately weakening the dollar. Terrible as it is. But the EU are not going to put up with this 500% hike in oil and gas. Now, they've been given an 180-day reprieve. This has still got to be signed off on, but this is what's being talked about. And these things used to be done with trade delegations and foreign diplomats and teams and legwork and extensive phone calls. Now it's a tweet, me, 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 me. So there's a 180-day stay, obviously threatening the EU and China and to comply. But as we've already established, complying's not working. So keep an eye on that space. Now, no. People keep coming back to the Epstein stuff. Regular viewers know my position on this. I think the problem is sex scandals don't do the damage they used to do. So in terms of will that knock Trump off the perch or not, meh. What's weird is MAGA seems upset, and they obviously thought we all knew Bill Clinton was on the list, so we want to see all those libs on the list. But for whatever reason, they got all excited about this Epstein list that was allegedly on Pam Bondi's desk and then not. There is no list, nothing happened, took his own life, of course. All I'll say is, these are the most powerful men in the world, not just Americans. And you'd have major Saudi royals, You would have major Hollywood figures, yes, very high level Dems, but every walk of life. So they were never going to let that through. I'm amazed Ghislaine is still alive. Okay, so moving on now. What I want to look at here is the tension between the Yeti and Musk, the whole Musk third party thing. I want to have a look now at their relationship with each other. I don't know if one of them can really win this. We'll see. I'm intrigued. What will the cards say about that? How can Musk? Two wolves. Oh, that's Trump. That's Elon. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, that would be ideal. Let me share. Actually, put a smile on the dial. Okay, two wolves, both hungry for power. Now, of course, wolves don't have to be bad. I love a good wolf totem. Not about that, it's about who we're talking about. So we're talking about two alpha men in the pack here. I think this is more of a couple. I think that's where they were. Now they're out there. This would be the Yeti, literally fiddling while Rome burns. That's him. This would be Elon with yet another failed SpaceX attempt. Look at this imagery, right? He isn't on the ground, whether it's through the well-documented recreational pharmaceutical practices or he's off his head anyway, or a combination of the above, but he's literally in the air. The energy over it's really interesting. Look at this. This is would have been the Knight of Wands in another deck, King of Fire. They're both goading each other. See the matador figure here and the red flag? Neither can back down. This is the problem with being a macho dickhead. You can't back down, right? And this is the problem for both of them. But look at the body language. Look at the body language here. This matador isn't being all new and taking on the bull. No, look at this. It's like, I hope this doesn't take me out. And my little red cape's looking a bit faded, and my light's dimming. I think, well, look at the last card and I'll tell you why I think it's going to be a fight to the death. One of them will not survive it. But the interesting thing to me, this is speaking to me, this card, is there won't be a clear winner. The other one will be mortally wounded and exhausted um, by this fight. By this fight. Oh, how fascinating. I haven't used these cards for a long time. They're great. Okay, so what's happening here? Now, um, time's running away again. But what I want to say about the Gavin Newsom stuff, because there were a lot of comments, and pros and cons of Gavin Newsom. Okay, so I think I just want to say at this point in time, we can only talk about the energy for now and shortly ahead. He didn't get brilliant cards. Hmm. However, what I think is in his favor is he isn't afraid. He's dealt with a lot of awful men in his day, and he's not afraid of the Yeti, and that shows. And California is being savaged at the moment. Let me do a quick read on California. Bless you guys. Because you had those fires, and then you had the descent into hell with the ice agents and all of the stuff going on. And love to the Angelinos. Mm. Let's have a look at California. I won't get distracted by Gavin for a minute. This is just all you guys in California and those watching what's happening there. It's horrendous. California. All right, let's have a look. Mhm. Oh, these cards are interesting in this. Okay, so not surprisingly, you guys are having to deal with so much all of a sudden. And we've circled back to wildfire season and everything else too. Another digression about weather for a minute. In Australia, every few years we have the toxic algae blooms. You get them in Florida and different places too. But the one in South Australia at the moment, you know, where there's a bite out of Australia, if you look at the map, looks like someone took a bite, and it's called the Great Australian Bite. Bit of geography for you. Keep it simple, we reckon. But the algae is so toxic, they're describing it as an underwater bushfire. Ooh, never heard that before. But okay, this is California dealing with multiple issues. There's already a huge homelessness issue and all this other, everything coming at once. How to handle it? All right. Everyone's asking themselves, I'm sure, a version of where to from here, how do we handle it? And my advice would be to be very prepared for every contingency. And that's true, of course, nationwide and worldwide. You know, be really prepared. But I think people are going to make a decision in terms of whether they're going to support. This is the King of Pentacles, and normally this would be, I think this is sort of corporate Dems to me. It's almost becoming my corporate, not just Newsom, the whole traditional corporate Dems and the whole Pelosi thing and all of that. I think the question is, to stay with the corporate Dems in terms of voting, and I understand there are red pockets and very red parts of California, particularly the farmers who are determined to kill their own farms and committed to the back teeth to voting for this man, even though their own workers get taken. It's bizarre. It's surreal, the things these people do. But I think this is making a decision to stay with the traditional Dems for now. Okay, for now. But look at these cards. The High Priestess I was talking about before, she gets belittled when we say, oh, the High Priestess, hidden agendas. That's not doing her justice. She's extremely powerful. But more to the point, I think the High Priestess also represents our deepest subconscious. Mm. So I think people are so traumatized now in California, they're having to go internally really deep. So stay strong. And this reinforces that. Shine the light where you can. Now, many of you might think of yourselves as light workers. For others, that might be too woo-woo. If you think of it more literally, can I brighten up someone's day today by just doing one small kind thing? I'm a counterfoil to that horror. And I would encourage you to do that. It's like underground light. I was just saying about the underwater bushfire, how weird. And it's like the underground light. We need to show the underground light. And the underground is working. So young hackers who are highly skilled, they're working out where ISIS next raids are and trying to warn people and so forth. So there's amazing humanity out there in this time. But I've gone on too long today and I've got a bit of housekeeping for you, so don't turn off yet. Okay, I've just done a series of collabs. So one was with Hogarth this morning, our regular one with the four of us. Mel Dewar, the Aloha shirt psychic, and Deanne Shieldmaiden, that'll be coming up in the next day or so on it. And the new discovery, the amazing Australian aunties, Judy and Wallace. Wallace, were you named after Wallace Simpson? Yes, of course you were. I did an interview with them and they are amazing. Now, on the comments, I'm going to pin up a few things. One of them, his name is Dr. Russell Razak or Razake, and he is a psychologist. And he's every day putting up videos on the psychology of all these people we talk about. Right, you might do the psychology of ancestry. The link I'm putting up is answering the question, why is Magus so cruel? You know how we keep saying the cruelty is the point, and we can't help but come to that conclusion. But why they're like that, and I think it's really interesting. It's about 13 minutes. So I'll put up a little taster of the Aussie aunties, and I'll put up Dr. Russell Razake's for you because I think you will find it really interesting. So, honey, next time we'll talk more about potential Dem leaders in the mix. Love you. Take care. Love, 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 love. Bye.